Opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Scarefest Radio, the radio you can see.
And hello, everyone, and good evening, and welcome to the December 16th, 2022 edition of Scarefest TV. I'm joined tonight by the Council. One time, although Adrian tried to die like 1 hour before the show, which was, I'll say, inconvenient at best, but we made it all work. We made it all work, everybody. First thing, before we even get started, Mr. Griffith, I just want to go ahead and brag to everybody how Scarefest Horror and Paranormal Convention made the top of the list at partnersinfire.com for horror conventions. And by the way, that's a travel blog, if you were wondering. But yes, we made the top of the list at partnersinfire.com for horror conventions in the United States of America. The only drawback is this was written in October and nobody found it until December. So, and then, there was that.
I'll have it for next year.
Yeah. I'm gonna slap it on the front page of the website, I think. So we are on the bucket list. They call it the bucket list. And
I do want to remind everybody that I think the Rondos, I've been dying to get. I love that list. I've been dying to get on there. We've been on there a couple of times. I think last year or this year, technically, I think is enough to get us on there. So, if you guys watch the Rondo Awards, hey, I'll take a nomination and some votes.
There you go, everybody in the chat room. Did you hear that? The Rondo Awards.
It's your homework.
Yeah, because I haven't seen any of the project that I posted this week. I haven't seen any results from that yet. I'm not saying there won't be, but so get to work, everybody. See, I don't think I had anything else preliminary lined up. I just wanted to brag about that little thing because I take personal responsibility for that.
Yes.
So I want to welcome everybody to the chat room, to the show tonight. First of all, everybody, now if you haven't heard the news, it's in the announcements, but I'm going to say it anyway. The official dates are October 20th through the 21st, 2023. With the launch party on the 19th, just to get that out there. So we got the dates locked in, finally, and that was, the delay was because... Am I allowed to say prison sex in here?
Let's be a little bit more like even killed than that.
Okay.
No, normally, so we start. I mean, obviously, we started booking and things like that, like before we had the October show, and so we have announcements sitting over. But as soon as we close out, we start entering into negotiations on renewing our contracts for the next year. And this year, a couple little speed bumps along the way, but we've come to an agreement with the venue verbally, and we've gotten our agreements with the hotel, so we are solid.
Yeah.
Can I at least quote Jared?
No, I wouldn't do that. I mean, I will say this. I mean, I do love the center. I love the staff there. I love having the event in Lexington. If it ever does come a time,
saw it.
that, we're not able to work out an agreement that we feel like is, all these things go hand in hand. What we pay for the venue, which is substantial, what we pay for the hotels, which is also substantial. We have to control costs if we want to be able to pass that on to the vendors and also the ticket holders. We don't like to raise our prices. We've stayed, I think, pretty flat, in the years since I've been here on trying to keep it, something, in line with, what other folks are doing, but, not make it so insanely, expensive that, people can't get in. So, I mean, if there does come a day where, we feel like we're not going to be able to do that in Lexington, I mean, we may have to look at alternatives. I mean, I don't know. But, that being said, I think the city of Lexington is really happy with Scarefest. I think that the venue really likes having us there. I think we've got a lot of relationships, long standing, business connections that, are willing to work with us. But yeah, we think looks like we were able to lock in a price where we're going to be able to, keep things pretty good for folks.
Okay. Very quickly, I do want to address something from the chat room. Robert England's line building this year, we don't give a rat's ass because he's not one of our guests this year. The other cons that he is doing may build his line, make you walk through the bathroom stalls. We don't care this year. So just to be clear on that. Although, now I'm not going to drop names because it's terribly, terribly bad luck. But if we get the headliner that we're wanting to get, we'll probably have to do something similar there. It's just, it's, so we'll hold off on that. But yeah, we got to come up with a nifty name for that, like Code Red line building or Armageddon line building.
Brandon is the one at coming up with dramatic names for things.
Oh, and I'm not good on the fly. You give me a weekend.
Yeah.
Give him and I'll come up with something.
Yeah, give him some bourbon and some time. You need to come up with a good name.
Now, there was a question asked in the chat room that it's probably referred to my vague thing about my little project.
Oh, no, it's yeah.
What's that we ask during these things? And I'm not even sure what they're referring to. Because
I think because I put a mad icon about Robert England line building.
Oh, okay.
I did get my laptop out. I couldn't miss out on the chat, no matter how almost I am.
All right.
Yeah, it was Stephen King. He's on my bucket list.
I've never seen him do a show. I've seen him do book signings.
I was going to say, I know he does bookstores. Maybe if we offer to set up a Barnes & Noble inside of the con, he'll come to the Barnes & Noble and the con and sign.
We had Joseph Beth come in for Bruce Campbell one time, didn't we?
Don't ever bring that up again.
Oh, yes, right. Oh, yeah. Well, it just made me think, yeah. We'll not repeat that cluster bomb.
Yeah. Barnes & Noble all the way, guys. Woo.
Okay, so anyway, does it look like we are on target for what we discussed this week on getting tickets on sale?
Yeah. So I think that there's one thing that I've got to figure out this weekend, but the standard tickets will definitely be on sale by Monday night. An update to the website. The platinums will probably not be up on the website on Monday. They may. I'm working on something to finagle that so we don't have to basically take on the fees of like Eventbrite and stuff like that. So yeah. Now, once that gets out, like we'll post it and you'll see it on the website and everything. But yeah, we'll give some more information about that. I am working on having it so that the platinums can break it up into like a couple of payments.
Yes, and I'll go ahead and remind everybody while we're talking about ticketing. I know Brendan brought it up a little bit, but we have had cost increases this year. I cannot get my eyes to focus. Sorry. I'm like, my eyes are crossing. We have had some cost go up this year, and that is at the venue. We have had some hotel costs increase if we're wanting to look at doing shuttling and offsite things again this year for like an offsite platinum package. We haven't decided on that, but I feel like we had some really good feedback from that. We are going to have some increases in some places, guys, just to let you know. And like Brandon said, we're looking at ways to kind of break some of those bigger ticket item payments up. But yeah, just be prepared because we are going to have some increases probably across the board. But
yeah, but the platinums, like, guys, I want you to understand, if you're listening, we muffled the blow last year for you. So basically, I mean, if anybody priced a hotel package downtown for a night and did the math on it, you guys made out like bandits. But we decided to absorb the cost on that last year. But now this year there's going to be some adjustments on it, and I'll break it down for whoever. But I want to make sure you guys, like Adrian said, like, wrap your head around that.
Yeah, it's not like we said, oh, well, we sold so many VIPs this year, we're going to raise the cost so we make a lot of money. We lost a lot of money this year on VIPs, and we have to raise prices to not do that.
Yeah, look, this ain't about like laughing all the way to the bank. I can promise you that. But we do have to cover costs, and we don't. The platinums are one thing that, like, we don't make a huge amount of money on. Like, we do it for folks, and it's well, sorry.
I can't hear.
There we go.
Well, anyway, I tell you what, while Brandon's sorting out his home situation here, let's do our first commercial break. We're going to be talking about CBD again.
Call it a Christmas party.
Okay. Of course, BlueLeafNaturals.com is a long-standing sponsor of the show, and I talk about them every week. But now, here's something that was brought up to me in the chat room that I don't think everybody thinks about. Why shouldn't your pet benefit from their combination of pure hemp flower extracts bursting with highly concentrated? This is actually pronounced weird. Well, it's cannabis oils. Well, how did she tell me to say that? It's a second syllable. Cannabinoids. It's cannabinoids because some.
Hey, coming from a formal behavioral neuroscientist, cannabinoids.
No, she said I was told that's the way I pronounced it in the original commercial, and they said no, it's actually cannabinoids, which I thought was absolutely crazy. But you got to remember, most of this stuff was invented by somebody hoping they would make marijuana legal. So, just going on.
Don't say it that way.
We're going to call them graboids.
Okay. And blended with vitamin-packed MCT coconut oil. So, in other words, they have Blue Paws on the website, and this is for your pet. And it's like 5 drops, quarter of a little dropper per 10 pounds of body weight. For all your 4-legged friends, check them out online. BlueLeafNaturals.com, like it's spelled right up there. And through the end of the year, twofer time. Buy one, they're gonna throw 2 in the box. So just saying. Now, back to the discussion.
I'm also working on a line of dog products where it's an aerosol of Xanax. And it also makes good for like wedding anniversaries.
Well,
oh my God.
I'll put it this way. I won't go into the story, but if they ever package that Delta 8 for pets.
No.
And hey.
No.
But okay. Now, one thing about it, when you're putting tickets on sale, especially if we get the VIP tickets on sale, if we're even going to discuss doing the 30-minute early admission,
that's true.
That has to go on sale early so we don't get lynched like when we mentioned it last year.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I don't even. I don't want to do a 30-minute one. I think it cuts. I think it was fine last year. But if anybody has an idea, they can drop a line.
But I'm just thinking about, and Wes, I need you to jump in here. Wasn't it Brandon's idea?
Yeah, he's actually the one that brought it up in answer to people complaining.
Before the show, yes, I thought about it. But now after I watched it all play out, like, the only reason that I would do it is to help, like, cut down on the traffic in the spine.
Well, let me ask you this, and we talked about doing this too, and we'll just be transparent with everybody. One of the things that we had talked about adding, instead of doing the 30-minute early, selling an early entry, but making it almost the cost of the VIP without any of the other perks. Because
that's what people were complaining about that brought it up was, I waited till March and couldn't get a VIP ticket. That's what started the whole conversation. So we were trying to figure it.
Not just that, the people with the VIPs were like, well, the only reason I bought VIP was to get in early, and I spent all. And it's like, so you don't want your shirt, you don't want your skips, you don't want, which is another thing that I want to kind of start a discussion about. Do other shows do line skips?
Answer it's in the chat room. Do other shows include line skips in their VIP packages? I do know some shows do. I know Texas does. Most of the ones that I've been through have it as a perk. Yeah.
Well, and another thing I want to know is that all VIP packages, and if you're a VIP ticket holder, do you use your line skips? I had a pretty extensive conversation recently with one of our celebrities from last year, and they had an extensive line for the whole weekend, and you were allowed to use line skips for them. And the other fans that were there he got an earful all weekend about how these line skips were fair. Now, I'm not arguing that point. I think that they're available in the VIP package if you want to get in early, but do we do too many? Just kind of want to start a discussion on who that gets our VIP package actually uses those. Is that a selling point in the VIP? Are there too many? Are there not enough? Just kind of what people think, because I'll make a post about it too and see what kind of. We had a lot of first-time congoers this year. Mm-hmm. So we had a lot of people in line. Say you're standing in line for like 2 hours, you get almost up to the table, and then you have 3 or 4 people get in line in front of you. I think that's where some of the the pushback is people that aren't really used to.
Yeah, because everybody's not like me. All the years that I actually paid to get in, never used a line skip one time because I didn't want to be that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. But I did notice that there were a few people that got VIP that were disabled or were using wheelchairs or walkers, and was really good for them to use the line skips because they weren't having to sit in line and move, inch forward and everything. So I think that was really helpful. But yeah, like I said, not a big deal. Just curious. If we're gonna change any of the way any of this stuff is structured, we need to do it before they go on sale, obviously.
I mean, I think the line skips are fine. I think some people use them, and I think you're right. I think if it rubbed anybody the wrong way, it was because we did have a lot of people that had never been to a show before.
Yeah,
didn't understand like how that works. Now the veterans, I mean, everybody understands that as just being how it is.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, and I don't think that I didn't ask for a hard number, but I mean, I wouldn't think that it would have been more than a few dozen line skips used at this booth. Yeah. So.
I mean, a lot of our VIP guys, they are there all 3 days, and so they're getting there. And our celebrities, like this year, with the exception of a couple of times, those guys were really good about getting on the floor
during early entry.
And so most of the VIPs were able to get through stuff. I know a lot of the guys that I talked to that are, longtime VIP pass holders. I would see them at 10:40, and they would already have almost everything that they wanted.
Exactly.
Knocked out.
Okay. Well, and I think it's a good combination of doing that early entry and having the celebrities get down there early, because then you don't have to utilize your line skips. And I know that's what you're saying, but I think it's a good combination. You've got them in case you need them. But
It works out good unless you've got like Kane RA and them going out and doing bourbon tasting. And then show up over.
yeah, that's true. That's very true. What else do we want to talk about?
I don't know. That's about the only movement I've got. Little news stories pulled up.
Have we?
No, until we start doing announcements and tickets go up, and then we'll start making announcements in January. And I know some of them, like some of the celebs, have already posted.
Yeah.
So the cat's out of the bag on that one.
Yeah, if y'all are, some celebrities have already posted their schedules for next year, and we're on there. We're still gonna hold off on the mystery and not say anything just yet. We haven't really talked any about this, though, Brandon. I mean, what are you thinking about doing some of the on-site platinums and some off-site platinums this year? I mean, I liked it.
I think it makes sense. I think I think it'll work good, especially with like some of the parking stuff that may change before next year.
True. That's true.
So yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of options there.
Yeah.
I liked having the offsite thing because I mean, if I go to a show, and especially if it's a convention show,
yeah,
if you're staying at the host hotel, that's one thing, but like, shows that are hotel based, you go up to your room, you come back down. But Lexington is so centrally located, and like you're able to get, you're running shuttles back and forth to the Clarion, and like instead of us having like the hotel where everybody kind of congregates,
yeah,
we have all that stuff like downtown that we do, like Lex Live and stuff like that. And I mean, we didn't even have a block at the Hyatt, and we ended up like a bunch of people crashing out there on the front of it. So I like the idea of having something offsite for folks, because if I've traveled before for shows, like sometimes there's a cheaper option, I can stay offsite, especially if I have to fly in. That's a good thing to offer.
Agreed. So yeah, we'll probably, let's see, autographs needed without a long wait besides have them. Yeah. So I think the general consensus is also good on the line skips. It's just something I wanted to bring up while we kind of had everybody.
See, you all were included.
Yeah, exactly. I never got any bad, like no one emailed me and was like, hey, what about these line skips? But it was something that this person just overheard, people kind of being grumbly about in the line. But I think it was because they had to wait quite a while and everything. But let's see.
I do want to remind people though, like if we we'll have our standard ticket packages posted, and then if we come up with like something that down the road, or we may open up like a different kind of ticket package. I don't like to do it, but sometimes we will. If we have somebody that comes up with a good idea, or something opens up to where we can, like last year is a perfect example, where we had like the on-site platinums, and then halfway through we opened up the off-sites.
Yeah.
When we do that, those tickets can transfer. You just have to like email one of us, and then we can help walk you through it and take care of it. And we'll do it so you don't have to like carry double fees or anything like that. I don't want anybody to have to pay over what they need to pay.
So there was a question in the chat, and I think I kind of have a good ballpark idea of how to answer this one. But the question is, a suggestion, a VIP lounge to chill, and
no, it's a good idea.
On the floor. And one of the things that I will say, is that we have actually talked about that in the past. Now, you may have noticed this year on the floor plan, we didn't really have an inch of space to use. Now, if we were to look at getting space off of the floor, that comes with a real hefty fee, like renting other rooms. You're talking, I mean, at least $700 a day to add like a disconnected room.
One of the things that we had we'd actually looked at, and one of the things that we're still kind of out on right now, you know, the floor plan. I'd like feedback about that because I mean we're looking at making that a little bit more. I liked it personally, but we've got to make some adjustments to it to make it a little bit better, I think. But having I like having the rooms downstairs, and we talked about either, um, or we looked at one time like having like a green room for the VIPs, either being able to pipe and drape that and having some couches and stuff in there off to the side, or using one of the spare rooms that we had on the floor, or one of the ones downstairs. Um, Ideally, what I'd like to do is I'd like to get the food court off the main floor, and I don't. They do have. If anybody's been to LexCon, like they have usually at LexCon, they have some food on the main floor, but then on the second floor they have basically like a cafeteria, and
I did
we
not
could
know
take that. Yeah, it actually works out pretty good. You know, if we're doing rooms on the second floor for like um, some film festival stuff on site, for stuff that anybody wanted to watch it, or you know, larger panel areas where we do like film introductions and things like that. That gets a little bit hard to do when you're trying to get it at Lex Live.
Yeah.
If we do more on that second floor and still have entertainment on the main floor, then we may be able to do the food court on the second floor. I would like feedback from everybody about how they like the photo ops on the main floor. I like it. I would like to hear back from folks on that though.
I loved how that back corner turned out. I loved having the photo ops there. Now, it may have been a little bit noisy with the main stage being right next to photo ops, like while they were calling people back. I think that ran pretty smoothly, but I loved having the food court there and being able for people to get their food and sit down and eat and watch what was going on the main stage.
Yeah.
I got outvoted because of the noise level, but I
think if you had if you just had like a little bit of, if you had like a bar back there and like a snack thing, and then I think you could do some panels on the floor like that, and I like that. And I liked having panels on the second floor too. Some of the entertainment's good up there, but if you have entertainment with like loudspeakers and stuff, I think it's hard to pull it off in that corner.
Well, one thing, this just came to me, so nobody take this for gospel, but one thing that we might even be able to do is if we were to have like a food court area set up downstairs, they've got a lot of their tech is hardwired in all over the place with televisions and stuff like that. And we did look at maybe a couple ways of being able to broadcast things that were happening on other parts of the floor, like to the back hallway. If we were going to do line building back there, it's real quiet. We talked about maybe putting like broadcasting what the speakers were doing into the back hallway where there were some tables. So we may be able to even put what's going on the main entertainment stage down on TVs in like a cafeteria area or something. So there may be some options with that if it doesn't cost an arm and a leg, but that's something.
Yeah, as far as like celebrities and vendors go, I mean, one thing that I'll tell you right now that I'll never do unless somebody twists my arm is I hate splitting the floor. I hate having the celebs off the main floor. I hate having more than one vendor hall.
Yep.
I hate it. I will now. I won't do it unless somebody tells me I absolutely have to. And I like that you have to walk through the vendors in order to get to the celebs. And I think that works out really good for the vendors. And I think, you know, I like having the celebs in that area back there where they were this year, and I like having photo ops next to it. And I think that works out really good for everybody. I think when you have them, like I'll go to some shows, and like you'll be in like celebrity row, or you think you are, and then you'll be walking in the through the vendors, and then all of a sudden like you'll see like a line of like 3 celebs or something.
Yeah.
And it's easy to miss. And I like to have everybody back there. Now the one thing I'll say, we're going to widen those aisles back there if we keep that floor plan. But yeah.
Well, someone made a comment. The only thing they didn't like about the floor plan, which I got a ton of feedback on this, guy, so it is duly noted. And I'm the only person to blame for this, was Lloyd Kaufman's placement where he was. And it was mostly oversight on me just not realizing how popular and high traffic his booth would be, but also we were kind of limited on how many like in spaces for line building that we had, and the people we did put in the in spaces did utilize their line building, so I didn't just totally put my foot in my mouth on thought would be popular in an open space and then shoving Lloyd in that aisle. But yeah, so if we have the Troma booth back in Uncle Lloyd, we'll be putting him in a very centralized location for everyone.
I gotta be honest with you, I love having Lloyd Kaufman. I'm surprised. Like I've wanted to have him for years, and I just thought it was a joy. I really enjoyed having him there.
Yeah, great. So there were a lot of people. I mean, and Brandon, I'm pretty sure Brandon said this in our first Scarefest TV right after. It might have been less. I'm pretty sure Brandon said that if we were to bring the exact same setup from 2022 back for 2023, same guests, same floor plan, same vendors, same entertainment, that everybody would absolutely love it. And I think that that's true. The exception of Lloyd. So I mean, I think that we did have a really great year. Who in the chat just said Storm Toker? It just says Facebook user. It's freaking Matt Ward. Matt, I don't know how you know Storm Toker, but they're awesome. Drew Baker, great in that band. David. But anyway, I would also like to have live music incorporated into the show somehow. Unfortunately, all of the venues around us, I don't know if Lex Live will do a band, and we need to talk to them. I don't think they will though, but if anybody has any like solid suggestions on a very close by venue for live music, send it to me, because most of the venues around us are prickly at best. So.
Okay, upon being prickly, let's go ahead and do our second commercial break and come back with what passes as announcements. Okay, Spirit Mechanics, long-term supporter of the show. You need to check out their website, but you also need to find them on Facebook and follow their page. They've added a group. I don't have the address for that right now. Join their group. But I mainly want to point you, go to their page, Spirit Mechanics. It's on Facebook. Introduction to Connecting with Your Guides and Angels. They're doing a little seminar thing on that's January 8th. January 8th, they've got a class scheduled in their building, in their brick and mortar building with Joel Phoenix. I'll give you the address in a moment. And also, I know Joni Khan's doing readings that day. So if you got a little event coming up January 8th, Spirit Mechanics, you can find them at spiritmechanics.com. Watch your spelling. There's an X in there, spiritmechanics.com. Hey, I got it right that time. Pointed right to it. And they're at 1510 Newtown Pike, Suite 116. That means nothing. 1510 Newtown Pike. You'll never find that. Although if you're using Google Maps, I guess it's fair. Lexington, it's basically, 2 entrances past the Clary. Real easy to find. It's right there on the main drag. So spiritmechanics.com. Check out my boys. Announcements. Oh, I wanted to do here. Okay. I added the soundboard back, everybody. Scarefest weekend. I've already told you, October 20th through 22nd. It is official now. And so you can, save the date, ask for vacation time and all that good stuff. To address a question that was presented in the chat room. Yes, as soon as we can, we will get the hotel blocks up. Just to, we're sharing that as that. But yeah, the hotel blocks will be up just as soon as we can. Central Kentucky Mystical Market, it's like the third weekend, I think it is. It's the weekend after the 8th. 14th and 15th. There we go. Central Kentucky Mystical Market. 14th and 15th of January. 1950 Newtown Pike. Now, starting in January, they will be in the Paddock Ballroom, Convention Room, whatever they call it. And the reason is, the room that they've been having it in is being remodeled. So it's not even an option anymore. But basically, you get to go in the front of the building. I think it's turn left at the bar. I've not been in there for a long, long time. But mark that on your calendar, everybody. Central Kentucky Mystical Market, 14th and 15th of January. All right, we're back. in the chat room, I'm going to address the band situation. The two holdbacks to bands being a part of the thing. First of all, you'll be surprised how few of them want to work really, really cheap. And that's not saying anything about bands. They actually have to pack shit, you know. Yeah. In the drummer's van usually, I think. Now that's part of it. The other thing is, we have quite the eclectic musical taste at the Scarefest. And it only seems to apply to live bands. Everybody loves what DJ Trey does when we have our DJ. Everybody seems to love what he plays. I can tell you, we've had damn few bands come through that place. And yes, we did used to have bands, but we've had damn few that I would give you. I'm trying not to insult anybody here. Okay.
Well, it's just not your style.
Not my style of music. Also, bands tend to think that every place is Riverfront Coliseum. In other words, like we had a great party down to the Sky Bar. I think the year before we moved everything to Lex Live. Great party. Launch party. Band came in. I had to leave the freaking building. And it wasn't that they weren't playing good music. It's that you could hear them in Nicholasville. So there are certain concerns when we're talking about bands. And in other words, it's not just a matter of saying, hey, let's book a band.
Plus, it's a busy time of the year.
My thing is, I'm not going to book a band unless we have a venue that's going to like corroborate the experience.
That's exactly
having a band play in a hotel ballroom or having them play on a stage that's not really designed for it. I think it's just.
What was
I
that?
don't like doing it.
Okay, I'm just going to say it. What was that band we used to go listen to at the Clarion every year? Is before?
I don't know. I think back about the year that we had. Yeah, okay, so I used to try and bring somebody that was in the Misfits band at least once a year, and we brought Dr. Chud in that one year, and we had that pre-function concert, and to me, like that would have been good. I hated having it in the pre-function. I hate everything about it. I don't want to do that again. I think it's not a good experience. I don't think it's conducive to it. If I can find a venue, even if it is a straight up like bar dive, but it has like live music and it has the setup for it, I would do it then. And some places like we talked about, like the Burl downtown.
Yeah, well, even like Owl's is close. It's very small though. And that's the problem, is there's some really great little spots downtown, but they are very little. And I've had several bands reach out to me in the last 12 months that are local. They've got good sound, or several horror punk bands, which I think is a really cool like fit for Scarefest. But yeah, man, the place that G. Tom Mac performed is they're just a little tough to work with. Someone just said that in the Freddie and the Krugers and G. Tom Mac here. They that venue is just a little difficult to work with. So
that's the year we do not speak of.
Yeah, that is not quite the lost year. That's the I need a lorazepam year.
Oh my gosh, no, it would have been the perfect year for my Xanax aerosol dog
would have
spray.
been walk up and just spray people with the like you're gonna get spritzed. Oh no.
Oh, if I can figure it out, like I'm going to patent it. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of venues down there to look at. We're really kind of exploring, and I've talked to some folks about trying to expand on like our event stuff, and trying to see what people like really like. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I think people enjoy. I think the trivia is awesome, even though it was like I've been wanting to do it for years and I've not been able to come to it yet.
Yeah.
Which pisses me off every single year. Karaoke, obviously we got to keep that going.
Yeah.
The bourbon tasting this year I thought was a really good idea. And
I think we'll probably bring bourbon
done it earlier.
And we'll probably start on it a bit earlier. I don't know if we'll go back to the same place. We may. It just kind of depends. A lot of that, lines up with what we do for our sponsorships. But keeping that event, the celebrity events, we want to keep those really small. So we don't want to raise our team sizes. Well, we can't for like axes and bowling, and same for the bourbon tasting. But yeah, if you all have any ideas on any other things that you would like to do, I think that events are fun. We'll try them once at least.
Yeah, Nicole was talking something about like spooky story pajama party, and I I don't know if that would roll with our crowd, but I think the premise behind it is a really good idea.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, if we do rooms downstairs at the venue, I mean, really, we can kind of do whatever we want to. And
I don't want to start talking about having a Scarefest slumber party, pillow fight, sleepover, because that could turn into some sort of. No.
No, it was birthed, I think, out of the notion of like Sleepaway Camp has a reunion this year, I think, and there's a few more. But Sleepaway was
who just said once you get juggalos, you can't get rid of them?
Jake.
Yeah, well, Nicole brought that up to me last week about the slumber party massacre or whatever it is. The idea, of course, and I operate on the premise that pretty much anything we do has to go into the schedule as it is. Now, if you want to rent more rooms, it's not my mortgage, dude. But she said, we'll just shuffle some stuff around. And so I demonstrated with her with a deck of cards. This is Scarefest. Shuffled it, showed it to her again. Still Scarefest. There are no new time slots. Let's be very clear about that. You might add space, but then we get into the whole axe throwing versus bowling thing that we were in 2 years ago. Where we can't do everything.
Yeah, it was gallery reading, drag show, after party.
Well, in the fourth quarter, when you're down by 3, it's not the best time to make sure that everybody on the bench gets in and plays. So, that's
very, very good.
Yeah. I think that's kind of what I felt like that last year. Like we were like, oh, that's a good idea. Shit, get him in the game. Get him out there.
You said you don't work well on the fly, and that was golden.
Actually, I work better on the fly, but I know other people, like not everybody works on the fly, and so it's and a horror convention is not the thing to like plan activities on the fly. I've learned that the hard way over the years.
No, exactly. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Now let's do our final commercial break, and we got Bonehead Weekly with something that I actually saw. I think it's on. I don't know if it's Netflix or Hulu, but anyway, it's on TV. I like to see it. Not the movie, though.
Horror. Movie. Fans. For. Life. On Facebook. Find us. For watch parties. For news. For memes. For friends. For life. Horror movie fans for life. Join us.
Hey, Scarefest fans, it's Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly. This week, I've got another one of those anthology series. It's on Netflix that you should check out. You won't like all of them, but you'll like most of them. Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. Not only does it have del Toro hosting each segment before it starts, like he's Rod F. Serling, each one of them is pretty cool. And there's 2 of them that are based on Lovecraft stories. If you're a Lovecraft fan, 2 of them, Dreams in the Witch House and the Pickford's Model. Sorry, it took me a second to remember the other one. I really enjoyed it. Now, not all of them are great. It's kind of hard for me to do. I mean, there's 8 episodes, and I only get 4 minutes because Wes won't give me more time, but I could spend 4 minutes on each one of these. And there's a bunch of directors that I really like who directed some of them. The director of Cube also and Splice did one of the ones I loved a lot. But what I want to do is go over the ones I liked quite a bit and tell you that, I mean, this cast is amazing. Once again, I would be here for the next 20 minutes if I just talked about it. So I'm going to go over the ones I liked a lot. Number 1 is the first episode is season 1, episode 1, lot number 36. It's about a guy in the late 80s, early 90s who's trying to buy these to make money, these storage units, and he just there's a lot that happens, and he's not a nice guy. The next one, episode 2, Graveyard Rats. I'm claustrophobic. Don't care for rats, but they don't weird me out like snakes, but I'm claustrophobic. This one gets to you. It's an old time kind of horror, and I just loved it. Number 3 may very well, episode 3 stars the wonderful Academy Award winning, he's also on White Lotus, which I also recommend, F. Murray Abraham, The Autopsy. This one has aliens and murder and death and fantastic editing. I just loved it so much. The weirdest one is The Outside, episode 4. It's a little tough. Pickman's Model, episode 5, has the great Crispin Glover in it. If you know Crispin Glover from Back to the Future and the remake of Willard and so many other things, Pickman's Model, very well made. I liked it better than I did the other Lovecraft, Dreams in the Witch House, which has Rupert blah, 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 from those Harry Potter films. Episode 7, The Viewing. This one is directed by a guy that gave you Mandy with Nicolas Cage. I love Mandy. Mandy's a fantastic movie. Well, if you liked Mandy, you're probably going to find The Viewing okay. It also has one of my favorite actors in it of all time, Peter Weller, RoboCop. But The Viewing is different. I mean, it is over here in the weeds different, okay? Way over there in the weeds different. But if you like Mandy and you like that style and this 80s kind of motif with the music and electronica, The Viewing's good. And then The Murmuring, my least favorite one. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. It has that guy from Dawn of the Dead, from The Walking Dead. It's no longer on the show. But that one's my least favorite one. And each one of them has an introduction by Del Toro that's just amazing. He kind of waddles over like big men do and gives it and has I just love it. I like the show a lot. I love anthology shows if they're done well. And honestly, 4 to 5 out of 8 of these are freaking fantastic. Once again, you cannot go wrong with the first 3. Love them all 3. And then I really liked episode 5 and 7. So do me a favor, check out Del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities on Netflix. This is Joe Lewis, Bonehead Weekly.
And welcome back, everybody, to the last few moments of Scarefest TV. Just to add to, and you're actually right in the chat room, but I do want to take the pressure off the people that were trying to design our version of speed dating. We made it too complicated for them to execute. It was not the contractors. Now, the first bunch did try to increase the price exponentially.
Oh, we got gouged all the hell about that.
but when the team we brought in to replace it, it was not their fault. We put so many moving parts in that thing that a centipede could not have roller skated. There, I'll just put it that way. So, well,
dating is complicated enough. We got way too far into the weeds on it. Made it even more complicated.
It was way out there. It was that, and we had to do it times 2 because teenagers. Yeah. So that was on us. That was 100% on us. We never should have even talked about it. So everybody just take this as gospel that it's a long way from coming to fruition. So, yeah. Well, let's see. We've covered the hotels. We've covered the dates. We've covered the tickets. So, yeah, everybody watch the Scarefest group. You can watch the Scarefest page. It'll be posted there, but everybody knows the way Facebook is set up. You'll never see it unless you actually go to the page. In the group, if you're not a member of the fan group, join the Scarefest fan group, and you'll get your news a lot better. And then we do have to go ahead and set up now our event page. This is all marketing shit, people. Scarefest is a complicated thing.
It is.
Just like my taxes.
I was waiting for something from the peanut gallery.
I can't remember what that's in a movie somewhere. I don't remember what it is. If anybody's listening that knows it, like, let me know. But yeah, like we'll be making some movement here soon now that we've got the contracts done. Like, you'll see the announcements, and like we'll get back into the swing of things. And I'm really excited about like what we've got as far as like the directions that we're going in this year and the folks that we've talked to. I think hands down, if obviously, it's like threading a needle while getting a colonoscopy, but if I'm really excited. Like, people we've never had before. Obviously, our fan favorites that we bring back, here and there. That's always something that we'll work out and announce. So no. That's what it's like when Nicole's not here and she leaves me stranded with the beat.
I was gonna say I can't hear him. Wes, can you hear
I heard
him?
that one.
Okay, I was gonna say your mic is cancellation because I haven't heard him once.
Yeah, it must just be me because it sounds like 747 like every time they go crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, some of the you'll see some of the directions that we're going in, like as we start getting into announcements. But it's things that people have messaged me about, things that I watch on the Facebook page, stuff that I've been working on for a few years. I think hopefully it all kind of plays out this year, and I think that it will.
Yeah, and guys, talking about social media and Facebook and Instagram, Facebook more so, I think it's a little easier to have discussion on there. If there's something that you want to see at the show, the best way I think to do this would be post it in the group, tag in it so we can see it, and then it'll start a discussion under it, and we'll kind of gauge the reaction of other people, and if it's something that we think that we can build on, then we'll do that. Sending a message to Brandon on Facebook about something won't get seen until next.
Oh yeah, you got a better chance of like a death row pardon. Like I can't keep up with like, it's a lot.
Well, and that's go ahead.
But what I love doing, like one of the things that I get the most excited about is I'll go down the main page, but I really spend a lot of time on the group page.
Yep.
And I go down through there and I just start looking at ideas and not just like posts, but like comments.
Yes.
And then I look at like the groups that, that I'm a part of, that actually me and Michael and a lot of guys are in the same, groups. And so I look at things like that. And a lot of shows, like, they kind of book whoever they want to. And I get that, like, some people, it's just, I don't know. Some people don't dive into it that much, I don't think. But then there's a lot of shows that like are really good about listening to what people want and getting feedback from their fans. And I'm on a lot of those fan pages for other shows, and I get excited when other shows make announcements too. But if I see something that's a really good idea, I mean, if I like it and I haven't thought about it and fans like it, I'll work on it. And so
I will add a little inside baseball stuff. The way Facebook's algorithms work, if you see a post on the group or on the main page that you like, that interests you, if you will actually comment on it, like it, love it, share it, whatever, but if you actually interact with it, it makes us more likely to see it, even by accident, let alone actually digging for it, because of the way Facebook works. So, little.
Yeah, and another thing I want to kind of bring up with everybody, and we're going to be pushing this a little bit more this year. So last year, I know we talked about a bit, and I posted about this, and my personal Facebook on the group. We've got, Nicole, Brandon, Wes. We're on here a lot where we're accessible if people can see us. But if you're messaging like Brandon on his personal Facebook, Nicole, you're texting, a lot of that stuff, they get inundated. We all do closer to the show, but we're really going to be pushing that if it's Scarefest related, to use our Scarefest emails, because that we know we will see. We get through all of that. That's our top priority, especially closer to showtime. So if we're commenting, if you see someone commenting, then they're trying to get a message to us. Almost everybody in here probably has our email addresses memorized. It's Adrian at the Scarefest, Brandon at the Scarefest. You can just our email, have them send it to us in email form, and then it's easier for us to forward it to the other council, because Facebook messages are a lot harder to forward. Text messages are harder to forward. So email is the best way to go, and really to kind of keep things a little more organized this year. And that's what we're going to kind of go towards. So it's not because we don't want to chat with you all or anybody. It's just, it makes it a lot easier if we can have it organized.
Yeah, because I tend to watch the Scarefest page messenger, and so if you ask a question and your reply is less than like one word, that was probably me.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I don't believe in mincing words. I don't believe in wasting my energy. Okay, everybody, it's at the top of the hour.
You usually tell it's me if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and it goes for like 3 sentences.
Yeah, now
and doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
it does too make sense.
Maybe do it 3 o'clock in the morning, but if you got a good night's sleep and went back and reread it, it'd be like speaking Greek, I think.
Oh, maybe not. I do my best work at 3 o'clock in the morning.
It's the witching hour, but it's also the highlight of Brandon's day.
Okay, for the record, mostly me. You'll see it like 6 a.m. So just so you know, because I'm done like at 8 p.m. Anyway, okay, that's the end of the show. One last thing, people in the chat room, people watching this show, if you want to see, in particular, now this is for paranormal, cryptozoology, and ufology people. We don't have deep roots into those communities like some of the smaller paracons do, where everybody's just buddies and everything. If you will, go to your favorite para-celebrity that you want to see at Scarefest and tag them and tell them, hey, get with your agent and contact the Scarefest. We're trying to build our lineup. We're trying to do it early this year. We're trying to do a little better than we did. Although the lineup was a hit last year, even the people in the lineup said, hey, why is this so small? And there was a big, long story behind it that I won't go into. Point is, that's how we're going to try to get paranormal celebrities. We've contacted the agents. Don't get me wrong. We have reached out to the agents and said, hey, send us your people, but crickets. So just so you know. So everybody, that's your project coming up for the next week. Bug the piss out of people, and we'll try to get them to Scarefest. Everybody.
Oh, it works. It works.
It does.
Yeah, don't make me call out the big guns. Make them call their wife. We all know the story behind that. Everybody, see you next week.